And we are live, Otter Player Podcast, episode 13. We,
Lucky number.
not a lot of things happened, but some game is stuck at 30 FPS. We're gonna talk about it. Also, I almost broke my foot, so there's also that. And prepare for a rant about people quote unquote favorite game Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Cause boy oh boy, um, I'm not gonna say anything. The screenshot is gonna speak for itself. All I'm gonna say is I told you so. Vindicated once again. But where are my manners? Intro. Mr. Nelson, how are you, man? And what you been playing?
Gran Turismo, Fantasy 7. That's a good question. I can't remember what all I've been playing. I played Power Rangers with my kid and got beat. That really irritated me. Hell Divers, a little bit of Gotham Knights.
You're back on it? Or you never
I'm
left
gonna
it?
be on it. I'm gonna be on it until I'm dead, but I'm not living my life on it. There's a difference.
Okay. What about Contra? You beat it?
No, not yet. My kids
Mm,
were out of town last week, and then we had a funeral yesterday, so we haven't really had a whole lot of time home together. So
I see. Let me quit out of real life. Weeb, how are you, man? What you been playing?
I'm good. I've been playing Final Fantasy Rebirth, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Still knee deep in it. I'm at chapter 7, so I guess halfway through. So probably will take me a couple of weeks to finish this game. But yeah, enjoying it so far. Yeah, only thing I can say now that I've seen the Final Fantasy version of Hawaii, I can say that. Uh, like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth has the better version of Hawaii. And there's that.
Okay. Nate, how are you, man? What you been playing?
Yeah, I'm good. Right now, I'm at the very end, like literally the final mission for Unicorn Overlord. So I'm
Oh,
about to beat that.
so
Most likely going for the
how
platinum.
deep you going for the plat?
Yeah, most likely. I mean, it's not like it's that difficult. I mean, I've done most of the work already. It's a decent
Oh,
amount of
okay.
cleanup to do, but
So,
yeah.
how was the story so far? And um, did the game keep find a way to keep you entertained the entire game
I
through?
mean, yeah, I mean the strategy and the gameplay alone kept me entertained because I mean that's the primary reason I like it. I mean, I'm a strategy fan more than anything when it came to this game. So I mean, that the bonus was like I said, some of the character development and world building, was a solid. On top of that, it was like I said, it was good. I had a lot of fun with it. Uh, I'm ready to finish it up, get the platinum, and wrap it up. I'm not mad at it. Vanillaware did a great game. It's my favorite game I've played so far this year. So they did a really good job.
Man.
So
Um,
you're goated so far?
yeah, so far. Eden Chronicles 100 Heroes still has to come out though, so that is that's some tough battle right
I
there
see.
because Suikoden's spiritual successor might knock it out of the park from everything I'm hearing from the people who got early access to it to a degree. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm also playing Rise of the Ronin, which is another game. Surprisingly, I haven't had back-to-back games where I really go for the platinum, so that's kind of surprising. And this is another game where I'll probably go for the platinum. It's gotten This is another game that's kind of gotten more fun the further you get and the more you learn how to navigate it and um, things of that nature. It's emerging mechanics and really its combat styles and stuff make it a lot more interesting to play. It's just been a lot of fun to really go about and discover and kind of get used to the parrying system and a couple other things. I mean, it could be pretty tough at times, but again, it's something that I'm having fun with. It doesn't seem like too much busy work as far as like an open world game. I've seen quite a few people have the platinum already that have been playing it pretty much straight through nonstop. So that's another one I should be done with before too long. So probably sometime next week. Um, and then of course, um, still playing Persona 3 Reload, which again is still really great. I'm having a lot of fun with that as well. A lot of these games are going to kind of finish up all in a culmination of things. I think actually the last game I'll probably finish is honestly Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I just like I have to
You
force
don't
I have
have
to
the
force myself.
energy after today, Ran.
Yeah.
You
I mean, it's just a game that I bought. Like, I don't hate it or anything, but it's like out of all the other things I have to play, it's the game I want to play the least.
it's
Um,
crazy that you're
Oh, man.
prioritizing Ronin over Rebirth.
yeah, I mean, it's funner for me. Like, again, like this is the problem. Like I said, a big problem for me right now, running into issues with um, Rebirth. There's almost too many systems in place, and I'm a person again that I often talk about a game not having enough complexity often bores me and is why I don't play a lot of genres because I just get bored and they can't hold my interest. Uh, they almost have too many things going on, and then it's like it wouldn't be as bad if they didn't overcomplicate some of the systems. Mainly again, I give somebody a really good example. They didn't know this was in um, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the whole dating system thing, um, and it
The
again,
whole dating system makes no like I got Yuppie,
yeah, but that's what I'm
but
saying. Like it's a
I
mess.
shouldn't have gotten Yuppie because I was far more further with Eris, Tifa, and everyone else. Like Yuppie is literally the final close to the final character you can interact with when it comes to dating. I have no idea what they were thinking with this one.
Yeah, it just seems to be kind of all over the place. Like I've never really
Mm,
seen a dating system where it was confusing who you were going for, and
It
you couldn't make the intention very clear in
it's
that regard. So yeah,
it's
I don't
so
know.
confusing that even when I got the right answer, it still wouldn't give me additional, XP with my character. Like
Well,
I
no,
could
but
have
that's
took
that's what I mean though. It's like it's so unclear, and it's like I've never played a game with a dating portion to it where it was unclear who you were courting or going after.
wait, wait till you play a game where one magic, one simple magic that you haven't used the entire game. If you don't use it at the very end of the game, you're gonna wish to just reload your save file just to pick it up.
Yeah, I mean
That's
there's a
how
lot of
bad Rebirth is.
quirky little
Yeah,
things in
yeah,
the
I'm
game that
gonna
are
talk
like
about
that.
it
So
because that's one of the main topics for me.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, as for me, I'm I beat Rebirth. I have zero fucking idea what the story is about at the end. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so confused that I'm super confused, and not in a good way. Remake confusing was excitement. Rebirth confusing, I just feel empty. Empty and confused. Okay, so now up to what I'm playing. I'm playing, so I beat Rebirth. I beat, I started Immortals of Avium. Again, I'm having a lot of fun with this game. Um, the only thing that to me is an issue is when there are boxes. You shoot them open. They can either be loot, like resources or money, or healing, or mana healing. If you keep them in the basket, mana healing and healing, you can go back and see them. But if you open them and you can't use them, if you come back, they're gone. And the sad thing, there is no way to uh, to know what is inside the box until you open it. Like the same box can have the same shape. It can either have money or resources or potions. And that irks the fuck out of me. Other than that, I'm loving the game. But yeah, that's about it. Let's jump in with the first topic, which is going to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for me. Look, is it a bad game? No. Is it an amazing game? Also no. Where did it go? Can you pull up the picture that I shared with you, please? Let me do it. You do so, cause I'm a bit behind. Okay, so for the people that can see it, this is after and keyword after you beat the main game. You get this extra setting, and one of the setting is material auto collection. Remember when literally my first impression about the game was when I'm walking, I wish I could collect materials faster? Or when I am on the chocobo, I wish I could auto collect? Well, long behold, literally, you need to beat the game to unlock this. Like, how can you be so out of touch with reality? Now you're just padding the game for the sake of padding. I was so pissed off when I saw this innate. I lost my shit with this one. And this was after struggling against the final boss for close to 2 hours, I think. And then I made the mistake and said I want to restart the final boss because I didn't have. My main character died and I didn't start off right. I wanted to restart the final boss section because the final boss is in sections like, and when I did, it pushed me 3 sections back.
Yeah,
How you
I've heard quite a few complaints about the final boss. So
how you gonna? No, I have no issue with the final boss having sections. That's no issue. My issue is pushing me 3 sections back. Apparently, what I needed to say is, I needed to say I want to restart the previous fight, and when you do so, you you start the fight where I wanted to be in. I'm like, that makes no sense. That literally means that I want to restart the previous section, which I didn't want. I wanted to restart this section. And another thing, I I was stuck on this boss cause I needed dispel, and I didn't have it. No, I had it, but it was on a different character that I couldn't have access to. And get this, and this is my biggest issue. I couldn't even change my stuff because it's not lock. It's almost like a checkpoint where you get to switch your gears and stuff like that. But it's yours only. You're not allowed to switch characters. Like that's how stupid it is. Even though they introduced a mechanic where you need to deal magic to it or have Yuffie in your team. And my team didn't have Yuffie. And when I tried to, and when I did that restart by accident, I was like, okay, fine. At least now I can switch my party member. I don't want Cases, I want Yuffie. I go to put Yuffie in. They're like, you're not allowed to do so. I'm like, the entire game, I was allowed to interact with my character and switch them however I pleased. And now all of a sudden I can't. And another thing is the non-skippable uh, sections in the game mid combat where you're doing some attack animation or whatsoever. Like seeing it the first time, amazing. Seeing it the second time, great. Seeing the 15th time, I'm like, now I literally need to go to the bathroom, be done, and by the time I'm done, I was ready to fight my fight.
Okay.
And it's the last thing I'm gonna say about this boss is I hit him. He does damage immunity. If I had dispel, I would have been able to dispel him. I have enough potions to use Aether. I have enough Aether. I have enough potions to survive. What I didn't have is a fucking dispel on my team. I had two. One was with Yuffie. One was with a different character. Yuffie wasn't accessible, and the different character wasn't accessible, and um I couldn't switch gears because my final reload, my final save, what I mean by quote unquote auto save checkpoint, my final checkpoint was literally me doing that non-skippable move and going into the quote unquote next section of the boss fight. I never imagined a boss fight be so egregious that I just was thinking I should just bite a bullet and restart my final boss fight run.
Yeah, I mean
I
it
went
sounds annoying. I'm not anywhere near there yet, but it sounds annoying.
I went on YouTube because I was confused. Well, what am I doing wrong? And I saw he have Yuffie in his team. I'm like, why don't I have Yuffie? Why are you gonna make it luck based?
That's
Uh,
if it's luck
if it's
based,
not luck based,
that's extremely
because
stupid.
because if it's not luck based, if it's something that you should know beforehand, so how am I supposed to know which which team are going to fight this section of the boss fight?
Yeah.
Literally the same section. One I am with Barrett, Tifa, and Case, and the other section, and it's literally the same boss fight, just a different section. Barrett, Tifa, and instead from Case you have what's his name? Redex.
Yeah.
Why could it, like all of this could have been solved if I could switch materia mid combat.
Another issue.
And again, and for the people that haven't experienced it, I am waiting on you people to go there and get hit with what I got hit with. And I'm pretty fucking sure 99% of you people are going to get hit by it. Because nobody uses this spell. I went through 99% of the game without ever touching the game, the, what you call it, dispel. It's egregious. So when you count everything, the good and the bad, I'm I was debating if I'm gonna give the game an 8 or a 7.5. I'm going with 7.5, mostly because of how atrocious the final boss was, because of its gameplay mechanic. If it's your vision, make it your vision, no issue, but you can fix it. Like, Soul games are difficult, but to me, they're fun. And I'm enjoying them. But with this one, you're hurting because the developer just wanted you to get hurt. Um, it's frustrating. Seafresh said, I have auto collection in Rise of the Ronin. It's great. And it's great. Absolutely, it's gonna be great. Rise of auto collect is not taking away your something out of your skill that you can't do. It's literally auto collect. But uh, people are gonna say, "Oh, that's too much. You want to play the game, not the game play itself." But it costs time, and time is money. At least for me, I would rather not waste time. But yeah, 7.5. Another thing is me dating Yuffie. I have no issue dating Yuffie. It just was fresh out of character for her because she was never that girl to begin with. Um, what frustrates me the most is it could have been so much better. This
It sounds like
game,
they just made it weird.
this game is minigame. Nah, the Yuffie section is quick. It's not. It's nothing. No, I'm focusing on the game as a completion. They padded this game with so many minigames that I had to do a minigame just so I can arrive to a different minigame. Fresh, Yuffie interaction with Cloud made zero sense. They just put it in there because they wanted to be a date. That's it.
Yeah, it just
If
doesn't.
it
It doesn't
was
really make any sense.
if it was Tifa or Eris, which what I was trying to get, any of the two, no issue. It would have been understandable.
But that's my
But
problem. The fact that you had to try and you didn't makes no sense. Like it shouldn't be that confusing and that ridiculous
I have no
to
idea
get the person
how
that
I
you were
got.
intended to go after.
I have no
I've
idea
never
how I
seen a
got
system
Yuffie.
that convoluted for just a freaking dating part of the game that basically made it so annoying just to get the person you wanted to date. Like that, it was ridiculous. But again, I don't expect most people to count to look into
It
it
was
or really count
making
it
sense.
against the game because a lot of people are so busy glowing about the parts of the game they do like that they will not detract from the parts that are an issue. It's the same thing like I told you for a moment when I was talking about Dragon's Dogma 2, and I thought it was weird that no one was ever seemed to be talking about character development or the writing in the game. That happens to be an RPG, and from what I understand, it's largely because it's either non-existent or it's bad. But that's what I mean. Like people are just glossing over the parts they don't want to deal with, and just talking about the things that they do like.
Of
So
course. My thing is with um I always say it for people when I'm criticizing game. It's because I know a previous game have done it better. And with this one, Persona,
Yeah, for sure.
like, have you ever found yourself not knowing which the right answer was while dating someone in Persona or
No,
trying to date them?
not even close.
Don't you always get a music tone when you choose the correct answer versus the wrong answer?
It's not specifically a music tone, but they do give you indicators to tell you
They give you
what is the correct
indicators.
what's the correct answer, and how to go about it.
Precisely. Precisely. Yet in this one, even if they give you the quote unquote correct answer, you're still not getting upgraded with your relationship. You could choose every single upgrade. You're gonna have a different reaction, but you're gonna still get the same exact XP. Like there were moments in the game that someone was having a life crisis, revelation and interaction, and no matter which one I chose, it didn't matter. Cause at the end she said the exact same thing, and I didn't know if I chose the right answer or not.
Yeah, that sounds like
It's
something that's
frustrating.
it sounds like a
It's
really badly
frustrating.
designed system.
But yeah, for the people that are gonna say that I have the not the platinum. God, I'm not sure if I'm gonna want to play the game. Another thing, I solved a puzzle, right? There is a super secret boss fight. In order to fight it, you need to be level 60 something. I was level 40. I didn't bother. Cause I need to power level in order to just try and beat the secret mini bosses before I beat the secret boss fight. I'm like, yeah, that's gonna take a while. I have no issue with it. But yeah, the biggest aggression is auto pickup not being there day one.
Which is
That's a
something
crime.
that I mentioned before about an issue with Japanese game designers not having accessibility features. Number one, at the onset, and specifically in this case, they did have it as a toggle, but it came in later. So in this case, they made the mistake of having it, but they made the mistake of, or not the mistake of having it. They had it, which was good, but then made a mistake of giving it to you too late. A lot like I was mentioning about sometimes they give you the ultimate weapon too late. It's like, you give me the ultimate weapon after I beat the game. That doesn't make any sense. I'm already done. I get to fight, one or two extra bosses or whatever with it, and that's really it. And it's like, no, like, you need to give me this stuff, like, at least as far as, the weapons and stuff, like 60% of the way through the game or something. And stuff like auto pickup and, accessibility features like that need to be, you know, a setting that you can access from the very beginning. But it is what it is.
So, moving on to the first topic of the evening. Toxic work culture revealed from the developer behind Life is Strange, as per dozens of current and former employees, including hiding Nazi symbols, protecting multiple abusive leaders, and more. Shout out to Hazardor Gaming. I got it from him, but he got it from IGN. Um, this one is a doozy in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's really ironic given, the nature of the game that they develop is all about being, inclusive and uh, you know, discovering, like almost like a rite of passage for a teenager and going through life and kind of growing pains and all these basically, really touching things. And they even won an Impact Award, I believe in 2021. Basically for the way that the story was told and the nature of all the things that it included. Basically, allowing a teenager, to be comfortable with themselves and basically the ability to express themselves and all these really great things. And then it turns out, that apparently they had one of the single most toxic work environments ever known to exist. Yeah, I mean, you can't, it can't get any more ironic than that, that the studio that you would think would be all, sugar cookies and rainbows and, everybody loves each other and it's just such a great family here. And, it turns out they were, just as bad as, plenty of other people that were out there. So, yeah, uh,
Hidden
it's wild.
Nazi symbols. Hidden Nazi symbol. Let us take in.
Yeah, Nazi symbols, apparently other Nazi symbolisms dealing with certain numbers and racism and a bunch of other stuff going on. So,
Sexual abuse that got what you call it put under swept under the rug.
yeah,
Um,
it's bad. It's not a good look in the slightest.
it's uh, it's the reality now. Um, Nelson, what's your thought on this one?
Never read that article, so I don't know the extent of it. But
Oh, it's
yeah,
terrible.
sounds like it was.
It's terrible, terrible.
Sounds like I'm pretty surprised anybody worked there still. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
why wouldn't you leave? I don't know, but
bro. I say the same thing about a bunch of developers.
especially like, okay, now it's a little harder. I could see some people like staying put, but like when shit was booming, like you could have left it. Any, you know what I mean? Everybody and their mother was hiring for a while there.
Yeah,
I don't think this started last week, so
nah, definitely not.
Well, so, some did leave. They interviewed both current and ex employees.
Yeah, yeah. Some of them eventually did leave. Yeah. It seems like
Crazy.
during the development, like it was like pretty much at its height or something. So, which was kind of crazy. Again, like I said, it's the irony is not lost on me because of, like I said, the game that they happen to develop. That's what makes it so ironic. Like the game is about literally the opposite of all these things. About
Yep.
being accepting and accepting people's differences and friendship and literally I mean the game is it's almost sounds like it could have been a Care Bears game at some point, uh, as opposed to a lot of the stuff that was apparently going on during the development in the studio. So yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. That's what I tell people. Just be careful. You know what I mean? Like you can like the product, but just the reality is you got to accept you just never know what the hell is going on behind quote unquote closed doors. Uh, so it doesn't take anything away from the product itself. Obviously, the product stands on its own, and I know lots of people who really like the game, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, just some people, don't necessarily tie the work exclusively to the people because they may not agree or even, think that way. So, yeah, this is another
Mhm.
one of those examples of learn to separate the art from the artist kind of thing.
Interesting. So, do you believe in something like that?
I mean, I always believe in stuff like that. People get on stuff like that. Like if someone comes out with an inspirational song and then you find out, something crazy about them later or something you don't like, it doesn't change the fact that the song was inspirational or that the song was a good song. Like the
Mm-hmm.
person might be a piece of shit or whatever they did later might be something, but yeah, I mean I've always been about separating the art from the artist because
I see.
a lot of people can't do that, and that's fine. I mean that's their prerogative, but yeah, I've always been able to do that. But,
Well, I would be one of the people who can't always do that. But my general motto is if um, separating art from artist is possible as long as the artist can profit from their work. currently, like historical authors or whatever who might, by today's standards, be racist or homophobic or whatever. I mean, you can put that in the context of the time, and they're not alive anymore to profit from the work. But with contemporary, artists or whatever people who are creating something. I mean, that's a difference. I mean, because I mean, if I buy their product, I will basically be giving them money.
Yeah.
What of HR when there is nobody to protect you?
Hmm?
And Mike, what's the point of HR if they are not here to protect you?
I mean, well, that's rule number one. So the rule about corporations is that HR is there to protect the company, despite what
Yeah.
HR's
Exactly.
role is
Yeah.
said. Yeah. So I can give you way too many scenarios, even of people I know personally that have gone to HR for things that were definitely an HR issue, and then end up getting fired because the company says, well, these people outweigh you, so we don't really care about your issue, and
Yep.
you're causing an issue,
Mm.
so we're gonna just fire you and not deal with it. So yeah.
So my question is, what about someone like FTC and all that jazz? Where do they stand with this one?
The FTC, they don't have anything to do with that.
But don't they have and
They
something like
they they, they protect
Consumer Protection
consumers.
Bureau?
They protect consumers, not the company. That
Don't
this
they
is a
have?
company issue. They don't get involved in that.
Don't is there no Consumer Protection Bureau?
No, what are you talking about? They're not a consumer though.
I mean, Worker Protection Bureau,
No.
not consumer.
No, yeah, the government. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the state of California did sue uh, Activision, right, when the abuses came to light, what happened in that company. But yeah, that's not the job of the FTC or any other consumer protection agency, because they have a very strict mandate that's protecting consumers yeah, and their rights. So that would be to state legislators or countries to take action there when they see that there are violations, or and it kind of depends on the country, I guess. I mean, I think we here in the Netherlands have uh, like labor inspectors who could potentially be called upon to check if the company is not violating any labor laws, for example. You can take personal action. There are options there, I suppose, but uh, yeah, I mean, actively, generally nobody's really checking that. So it would have to somebody would have to speak up for that to be a thing, and some things are either considered to be an internal thing, or somewhat a gray. So of course, you shouldn't accept bullying in the workplace. That's something I think you can actually take action against. But like if there's a toxic work culture, I mean, yeah, that kind of depends on what you define as toxic. There could be some things that yeah, are not okay, but might not technically be illegal. If you're crunching your employees or being abrasive, right, kind of thing, like that doesn't necessarily violate a law. It just it's not an ideal working environment, and yeah, the only real way to change that is to speak up or make a
I
decision
mean,
to leave.
they would be get fired.
Well, no, but that's what we're saying. So there's other little weird things like you got to remember like where the company is a big factor too, right? Like
Mhm.
particularly in Arizona is what you call a right to work state, and that's probably the shittiest thing you're ever going to hear about. They can fire you because it's Tuesday. Like they
Mm.
don't need a reason. So you could ultimately try to bring something up or try to, you know, go against HR or things of that nature. And, like I said, they could just fire you just because.
It's Tuesday,
Yeah,
basically.
it's Tuesday. Yeah, like it doesn't matter. So yeah, like you're talking about, whether or not this company, potentially was, someplace, a particular place in Europe that might have different labor laws or other things going on or other protections in place, perhaps. But, like I said, if we're talking about a studio in the United States, which I also think most of California is also a right to work state, then like we was saying, you have to legally understand what you're going for if you're going to prosecute somebody. Like you don't there's a reason why some people don't press charges and do other things. Like you're talking about dealing with a world of a headache for yourself and sometimes an extremely elongated process, which may not even go anywhere or get where you want it to go in the first place. Like there's a ton of reasons why issues like that get really complicated. But like I said, HR is typically going to be one of your worst solutions, which is crazy because I know it's called human resources. And the idea is that you're supposed to be able to talk to HR about problems in the workplace. But like,
But you're not. You can't.
yeah, like 90% of the time, it's typically going to end up getting you fired or causing you more issues than you
Yeah.
had to begin with, and that's not supposed to be the way it is. Like I said, this is one
Irony.
reason why I said I was so incredibly impressed by the situation and the way it was handled at IGN when the previous, someone who had worked there prior accused one of like their main people of like sexual harassment, and they actually didn't just go, all right, well, you're fucked, and like just fire him or whatever. They actually did their job. They actually performed an investigation. They found no wrongdoing, and the person felt some type of way. Then ultimately admitted that you know the shit was, they were basically exaggerating and did it for whatever reason. They recused their stuff. They deleted everything they said, and they basically ran away because they ultimately were proven wrong. but
Ah,
but
they
but
ran away, so they didn't even have consequences
well,
for
yeah,
their
there were no
actions.
consequences, and that again, that's the other issue. So people were ready to slander this person, and say he was a piece of shit and he was all these things, and people running up and down. Half the IGN staff walked out, like a day or two after the allegations or whatever.
They
Again,
believed the allegation or didn't?
after no, so the allegation came out, but like nothing was proven or anything. They just half the staff just walked out because they were like, we're not going to work with a sexual assault, someone who sexually assaulted
So
someone
they
or this and
believed the
that.
allegation. That's
Well,
why they
yeah,
walked out.
but this
Okay,
is
I
this is
see.
again the danger that people talk about when like we say the damage the allegation can do, especially whether or not it's true or not. Now, yeah, ultimately, most people probably don't even freaking remember who I'm talking about or remember the incident.
I know what you're talking about, but
But yeah, I mean, I was incredibly impressed by their HR team for literally actually doing their job. Like, I mean, that's what HR is literally supposed to be there for, you know.
mhm.
And essentially, like imagine being the person. Like people always talk about the victim thing, but like imagine being in this case the person who's the
The
victim.
person.
The victim
Yep.
is the person being accused because they didn't actually do anything. Like people actually forget that when they speak about the term
Hmm.
victim in this situation, and that person was basically accusing them of something they didn't do. And
It's very
yeah,
to blame someone, and most of the time people make the don't do research whatsoever.
yeah, so like that's what I
They
said. Like
just
that's
follow
why I
the
said
law.
it's often a lot more complicated because like I said, just the allegation on that almost ended that person's entire career, like,
Yep.
which is crazy to think about. And
Yep.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, yeah, rightfully so if they actually did do what the person said, but in, like you said, they didn't. But again, that's what, like I said, it gets complicated. Who is the person? Is the company privatized? Because depending on if the company's privatized, there's other legal ramifications and other things. Certain documents might not be able to be pulled. The documentation might be erased if the person's like a CEO level person or whatever. Like, I mean, how many people know that Bobby Kotick is a piece of shit, but no one's gotten him yet, right? He got the golden parachute, got the hell out, and is one of the richest men on the planet, and basically, essentially threatened to have someone killed. You know what I mean? You know, and that's all but basically a guaranteed accusation, like it actually happened, but they ultimately still couldn't do anything about it. Like that's what I mean. So like
Yeah.
something that's so very publicly known, and it's like this person still got away with it. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's where it just gets weird, it gets crazy, and you just never know. And yeah, but like we've said, at least some of the people got out of there. So yeah, just irony. There's just food for thought for people to keep in mind that everything that you think might be good, or everything they what do you say, everything that glitters isn't gold. So yeah, just be careful.
Yep. Um, Nelson, you have anything else to say? You have anything to say?
Is any government stuff or anything like that that you can really do?
Mm, okay. And we, you said what you wanted to say?
Yep.
Okay. Then, with that being said, we're gonna go to the next topic. This one is your wheelhouse, Innate. Yoshi P said it's probably about time to do a Final Fantasy tactic. We love tactic as well. It's probably about time that we do a new one. So this is the good news, and we have the bad news about Square Enix. So what's your thoughts on this one? Because I never played tactic, so I can't comment about it.
Yeah, I mean, I played Tactics. It's one of the, earlier, turn-based strategy games. That was really good back then. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the potential. If they do it right, that's always the scary thing these days. You
Don't they
want them
should
to do something,
um
but we'll see what it turns into.
should they
If they
not,
actually do it.
do a remake of the previous one or a remaster something?
I mean, it sounds like they want to do a remake. So, uh, I mean, I think that would probably be for the best bet, so they don't screw it up, and then kind of see where the ground goes from there. I mean, it excites me, but I do think they will have to change or kind of modernize some stuff when they do it. I mean, it's still going to be turn-based tactical, um, but the game does have a bunch of systems that were kind of, I guess, chaotic in the strategy space, where like magic would kind of hit every single tile, and a lot of weird stuff. People, more strategic players would really understand. It was kind of like really wild as far as like a strategy game goes. Not too much, not enough control over certain instances. Um, a lot of friendly fire kind of going on if you weren't too careful. But again, like I said, a lot of people are big fans of it. There's no real modern way to play it. So I mean, an update for it would be really great. Right now, strategy's doing really well. Fire Emblem, again, with Three Houses and Engage, has done really well. And from what I know, there's going to be another Fire Emblem game supposedly introduced pretty soon here. So I mean, they're firing on all cylinders. I mean, we've gotten a lot of stuff with Midnight Suns and like a ton of strategy games and tactics games, and including obviously, like I
A
said,
Ring
my
of
favorite
Time,
game with Unicorn Overlord. So yeah, I
that's
mean,
another one. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I think he's not wrong, but again, this it's about execution. Can they do it and then do it correctly and not mess it up? That's the real question. So I hope they nail it, because obviously I'm a really big strategy fan. So I'm looking forward to it.
Mm. Weep? Weeble Weeble?
Yeah, I don't really have an opinion about this one.
You played or you didn't?
No.
Would that incite you to play it?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. Nelson?
Yeah, I think they would want to do it in a style that would be a cross between like Octopath Traveler and Diofield Chronicles.
Or maybe Live Alive? Cause that looked to me
Yeah, I don't know. I hope not, but possibly.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on the right path. Something between those, and like you said, like Live a Live is also kind of like they had multiple different examples of kind of sprite based characters and stuff they could use from there as well. So um, I think they got plenty of options. Like I said, it's just a matter of the execution and how they turns out they really want to do it. So and how much they want effort they want to really put into this. If it's going to be a remake or
Something they can
full
sell a
remaster.
decent amount of copies into and not have to put a ton of money into, not like Octopath.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll want to go too crazy with like graphically and stuff because
The graphics won't make a lot of like they said like
yeah.
why do you make Final Fantasies now action because it would look stupid if you were had a game with really good graphics and half the time they were standing there looking at each other. You know what I mean? It just wouldn't. You know what I mean?
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean,
Your
Oh.
I was
opinion,
gonna say because it's a big hit in Japan, and it's something you'd probably want to put on the Switch. So that's what I was
That
saying.
too. That's another
Yeah,
thing too. But
yeah. And,
Yoshi is sadly known for shooting himself in the foot.
oh,
When it comes to
I
power.
know. That's why somebody had commented when I commented on it, and they were like, "Yeah, Yoshi P's so great," and I was like, "I'ma just not comment." Like, I was
You
like,
don't want the hassle, right?
yeah, I was like, I'm not having that conversation again for the 400th time. So
Precisely.
yeah, if they think he's great, I'll be like, cool. So I'll just be quiet until he shows me what he's working on, and
It,
hopefully they don't ruin it, and that'll be good enough for me.
it's kind of like saying Rebirth, not Rebirth, Final Fantasy 7, not Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 16 is an amazing game. Kind of on that degree.
Yeah,
I'm like, if
basically.
that's the hell you want to die on, you do you. I'm not gonna be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean it's basically like a running Twitter joke at this point. So I
Yep,
just leave it alone at this point.
me too. I have no interest in, all the drama.
Yep,
Because I know my shit is gonna be, controversial.
exactly.
How? How can you say that Rebirth is, how, that 16 is not an amazing game, it's not a 10. Like, it's not a 10 for me? Well, what can I say? I'm allergic to bad games.
Hey, what's up, Wara?
But, yeah.
No, but I mean, that's like the thing I posted earlier where I was like, I also don't understand this need to try to convince other people um that they should like a game because you like it.
Yeah,
Like I don't really care. Like I'm not shoving Unicorn Overlord down other people's throats that I know definitely do not like that type of game. Like I mean if people like that type of game typically, then yeah, I'm like, I might encourage somebody
if
like,
they
yo, you
wanna
might
try it,
yeah, you might want to
great.
give it a shot. There's a demo, take a
Yeah,
shot at it.
there is
Somebody
a
was really
demo to start
curious
at it.
because they've never played anything like that, and I mean honestly, really
Mm-hmm.
no one has because it's pretty unique. And I told him to just try the demo, and he was like, "Man, it seems pretty cool, but it's not for me." And I was like, "Cool." Like
Oh,
I'm not gonna do
you
that, but
kidding?
like,
How
yeah,
dare you? This is the best game since sliced bread. Like,
yeah. I mean
it's not
that's where
your job.
that's honestly kind of weird to me. Like I don't get the
It's
need to convince. And then like again, the other thing, like I said, with Metacritic, like again, a bunch of people are like, I hate Metacritic. Metacritic's ass. Metacritic sucks. Fuck Metacritic. And then 5 minutes
like,
after every game launches, they're tweeting about Metacritic all day. And
yep.
it's like, okay,
I'm like,
do you not like them or do you? Because like you keep using them, and I'm like, like what, like why even reference it? Like I know somebody, the particular person I was saying was upset because Alone in the Dark got rated like trash, and I was like,
yeah, I saw
and they
that.
were like, oh, but I like this game, and if I let this
I'm like,
determine me playing a game, then I would never play this game, and I think this game is great, and I'm like, all right, cool, like good, you think this game is great, that's fine. Like I'm not gonna tell you it's not. I don't really care. But I also, what I'm saying, for someone like me who essentially number one is not really into the horror genre, the game would have had to get like a 98 or something for me to even remotely care. Like, and then even then, I still probably would have been like, I'll get to it, in 10 years. Like, I just don't care about that genre. So it doesn't even matter whether it scored there, here or there, but the fact that it scored so low makes it even less of a priority, if ever I bother playing it. You know what I mean? But again, I'm not shitting on that person. You know, I'm not like, oh, I can't believe you like that game. That game is clearly trash. Look at the Metascore. No, I don't care. Like, but again, like I said, they clearly do because they felt the need to bring it up and constantly worry about what the
But
Metacritic score is.
it it it's almost like a validation.
It is.
I'm like, if I enjoy something, I'm gonna recommend it to you. If you don't like it, hey, I'm not gonna lose sleep about it.
Yeah,
I'm
like
sorry, like life is too short for me to to be sad because you don't like what I like.
yeah, like I mean, I know like some people on Twitter that like literally they know this person like likes this game and this game, and if it's not those two games or a game exactly like those games, this person essentially is just not going to like the game at this point. But every single time a new game comes out and this person tries it, people are shocked when this person shits all over it, and I'm like, how are you shocked at this point? This person has done this for like the past 8 years. It's not a surprise at this point. Like they clearly have a type. They like what they like, and they're not gonna like anything else. You know, they've said so. So, like I don't know why people even try. And it's like I don't care that this person is not into JRPGs or you know they're not gonna ever play or like Persona 5 Royale. Like I don't care. That has nothing to do with me and all the people that I've introduced it to that really love it. Like nah, I'm gonna let
It's
people
royal.
vibe out and like what they like, and the people who do like that stuff, I'll continue to put them on to really great games. And if that person wants to limit themselves, I'll let them limit themselves. Like I don't, again, like I said, I'm not seeking validation from a bunch of people I don't know, or people who don't necessarily want help in that department. And it's the same thing I told you guys with, I hate topics on Twitter when people ask for recommendations, and it's like, how is someone going to? Do you understand how a recommendation works? If Weeb is like, hey, I'm coming to your hometown, can you give me a recommendation on where to stay, and that makes sense, right? Because Weeb knows that I live there, so I probably know a couple good spots. I've seen them in person, not just a brochure. So I could probably recommend a good hotel or something that he could stay at. That makes sense. But just being like the way people ask is like you're asking for a broad recommendation, like, hey, can someone recommend a place I could stay? And it's like that's basically how broad you just ask the question when you ask like, can someone recommend me some good JRPGs to play, but you've never played them. So, and none of these people recommending JRPGs to you know you. And ultimately, you're just going to get a bunch of suggestions from people telling you their favorite JRPGs, and you're going to have no idea if you like any of them. So
Yep.
essentially, you're getting recommendations that don't even, they're not helpful. So again, like the stuff just, it's ridiculous.
But going back to it, that people just for me, if people wanna get recommendation, my best point would be, how about something called your eyes? You can see what the gameplay is. You can look up what the gameplay is about, and be on your merry way. Why? And another thing, demos. Like we live in an era where demos are back.
I mean, demos, or even like you said, that in a world, the information age, when you have 15 different ways to figure out before you purchase something whether or not you care about it or even interested in it, there's plenty of time. Like this is why most people are not even remotely looking at a game that they didn't have an interest in beforehand. Like yeah, occasionally something sneaks up on you, something comes out of left field, and it's an indie or something and you never heard of it for one reason or another, and you're like, "Oh man, that looks good." But again, the visual or seeing that game is what got you interested in it. If you look at a game and you go, "That looks completely uninteresting to me," then no. Like people went absolutely ape shit over Remnant 2 all over my timeline, including Kofi, who again is someone who typically likes
Yeah,
the type of games I
copy.
like. and that he put like 800 hours into that game. He could not stop himself. But I know myself, and I know I don't like those type of games literally at all. So I didn't play it. That's
Yeah,
simple.
you wouldn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I know I would because I played the first one, but if it's not right up your alley, you wouldn't enjoy it.
exactly. And that's the type of
Hey,
decision
okay.
making a lot of gamers need. But I didn't say it was a bad game. I didn't
No,
shit on the game.
this is what I get mad about. Even if it's a bad game for you, why is it a problem?
That's what I'm
Like
saying. Like I don't get it.
I didn't enjoy Final Fantasy 16. I have seen people calling this a 10. I'm like, if this is a 10 for you, thumbs up for you. But it's not a 10 for me. How dare you? You're supposed to be Final Fantasy fan. This, rah, 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 rah. Again, validation. I
Yeah,
get
I mean
it.
that's part of the problem. Is just it's really just social media. It's social media trend of validation seeking that a lot of people have gotten accustomed to. They want to shout it out. It's the same reason why you keep hearing specifically about Final Fantasy 16 and people starting stupid trends. Like the whole thing where people were like, name a 10 out of 10 game for you that came out this gen, and everybody just kept quoting Final Fantasy 16. It just turned into like a Final Fantasy 16 blowjob fest. Um, like it was just weird, and I was like, you guys are just making it weird at this
To
point.
entertain the thought.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it's just
yeah,
weird.
no.
Yeah, like again, you can like it, but like now you guys can't even you guys can't even follow the rule correctly. Like you're supposed to put a different game each time, and now they're just trying to be funny because like they're just so hurt that everybody doesn't just unanimously love this game that they're just
So,
freaking out.
so is 16 the new Starfield? You know how Starfield, people wanted to love it, and when it got called out, people defended it to the ground.
I wouldn't even say that because like people gave up on Starfield pretty fast. Like they sounded crazy for like 5 minutes, but it was really before it came out. And then when it came out, you saw who really liked it and who didn't, and then it kind of died away, right? Like like you won't hear a peep really out of Starfield unless it comes to PS5 or the Shattered Space DLC comes out. Like they kind of let it die. What it is, like the discussion around it, the inability for people to just let it die and just let people like it who like it, and then but you don't have to bring it up in every conversation. It's kind of like it's more the undying conversation that mimics the thing that I no longer like to have a conversation about because I've had a conversation about it about 1,600 times and I really just don't give a shit because people have a hard time accepting that how I feel about the game or its characters or the things that happened is very hardline. And it's like having a conversation about it any further is not going to change my opinion. And that's the whole thing with The Last of Us 2.
Uh,
So, you know how
you
that
just
conversation
open,
comes up 16
you
times
just
a year?
open the can and worm. I could every
No,
single
but no,
time we're
but
talking about it.
yeah,
You
every single
get
time.
pissy.
Every
Every
single time.
single time.
Yeah.
Every.
But
I'm
that's what I'm
not
saying. Like
joking, eh?
somebody got a statue of Abby the other day, and like immediately they couldn't just be like, "Oh man, this new gaming statue I got is great, and I like this character." That they could have just left it at that, but no, they got to
No.
be like, people who
Abby was
don't.
right.
Abby was right. Abby was amazing.
Abby
She's a
was
super
right.
duper awesome character. She's like one of the best characters
Abby
ever
was
written.
right. Yep.
Yeah, they had to go in like this whole diatribe, and I'm like, you
Ah,
could have just been like, look at my new figure
oh
that I put in my
man.
collection, and I like this
Uh,
character.
it,
But
it
you know,
made it just this is entertaining.
yeah.
It,
So
it is
they
entertaining.
just went,
Why?
yeah, they
Because
just
I
went,
have that conversation with you about it.
yeah.
And I know how fucked up pissy. I know how pissed you can get about it. It's all in good and fun at the end of time.
But that's what I'm
But
saying. Like,
it's, you know,
I'm not against someone else's opinion though. Like everybody can have their opinion. They could think Abby is, Jesus Christ himself reincarnated for all I care. I just don't want to have a conversation about it anymore because my
yeah,
opinion is
your
not going to
opinion is not
change.
gonna change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so there's no point in having a conversation any further than what I've had already. I've already had conversations with people who I believe have some of the best gaming, opinions and ability to debate and
Thank you, thank
conversations
you.
I could have about it, and therefore there's nothing further to discuss. Like at the end of the day, if you gave me a different ending, if they came out with DLC today where you could bust a cap in Abby's ass in the end, I would replay the game right now. Like that's just how I feel, and that's okay. And if you really love Abby, that's cool. Have a ball. Like I don't care.
It's entertaining. I didn't want to make it so entertaining. Because this actually made you pissed. In the sense of like, yeah, your opinion is gonna not gonna change, and their opinion are not gonna change.
Exactly.
Um, so anyone have anything else to say about that one?
Well, just one thing. When's the last time the Alone in the Dark game was good?
Ain't that the truth?
Um,
Ain't that the truth? Oh man.
no idea. Maybe in a different time zone, timeline. I mean, different reality, something like that.
Yep.
Alternate universe, the multiverse,
Yeah, something multiverse related.
an alternate universe where PlayStation developed it. Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh shit!
Oh man.
It shows violence.
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, we all know
Real
who the
bad.
we all know who the best in the industry is.
Oh yeah,
Whether
we do.
whether
We
we
do.
want to admit it or
Mhm.
not.
No, I need to go be right back very quick, but I'm gonna let you take this one about. I think we move on to from this topic, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Shout out to Warawana for coming through. And the next topic to talk about is I had it here. Is the one about the studio behind not studio Square Enix Dragon Quest series. Shout out to Genki for sharing this from Bloomberg. Dragon Quest series producer Yu Miyake is stepping down from the role following delays in developing the next installment in the series, according to Bloomberg. A report says near series producer Yosuke Saito is a strong candidate to take his place. Um, I would also I love Nier. Nier is an amazing game. Nier Automata is an amazing game. Replicant, I started, I haven't finished it. I played the original Nier, but I don't recall finished it. I did finish Nier Automata. I didn't beat second round nor third round.
You what? Hold on. You didn't get the true ending?
No. My
Fuck you,
issue,
Omar.
I did no. Let
You
me
didn't play. You didn't play Nier Automata then.
let me explain what happened with Nier Automata. I traded Nier Automata for Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh,
Beyond no
are
Detroit
you
Detroit
fucking kidding me?
Detroit becomes human. I had
Are you fucking
no
kidding me?
let me explain. I had no idea that you can play that there was a third round. I knew that there was a second round, and when I was playing, I got so bored from the hacking, dude. The hacking was atrocious, dude. So I wanted to make someone else happy because he wanted Nier. He was looking for Nier. I was stupid back then. So I traded Nier for Beyond, what we call it, Detroit Become
Detroit.
Human. And that might be a good mistake. So I'm gonna rectify it someday. I'm waiting on Nier hitting PS Plus because I'm not gonna pay for Nier. I already owned it. But now I'm playing Nier Replicant. But going back to it, I would be interested to see what he can do. But it also depends how is Dragon Quest gonna shape after that. Because for me, as someone that was never into the Dragon Quest franchise, I played 9. I enjoyed the game. I hated the main character because how how mute he is.
You mean 11?
Oh, sorry, 11. Thank you very much. I I always avoided 10 and 9 because you wouldn't get to see your character. You always saw it in first person, and that always was a turn off for me.
What, first person?
Basically, um, RPG turn based, but first person. Like you couldn't see your characters.
Wait, hold on. Dragon Quest first person? What are you talking about?
It's not first person. It's like your characters wouldn't be visible when
In
they're
combat,
doing
are you
their.
talking about like like the dungeon crawlers?
Yeah,
Oh, wait, in which one?
think it's
I think
the one. It's the one. There is a fat dude with a spiky helmet. That's all I remember. And
Oh,
you could
okay.
see that he would disappear behind the screen when you're doing your moves or choosing which move to do. I know.
I'm not
I
sure
might.
which one that is because I think most of them are just straight up turn-based RPGs where you can just control your character and just see your character from the third person.
Okay. So again, I never played any. And the only one I played is 11, and I
Then
enjoyed it, but I got bored with the main character because he wouldn't be talking. Again, I was playing Persona 5,
Yeah.
and that another character beside everyone else that doesn't talk, which I'm frustrated now about. I want my main character to talk.
God damn,
Um,
11 is a fantastic story. You're really. I'm
what
seeing a pattern here, Omar.
what's my pattern? What's my pattern? Let me know.
Yeah, you don't finish your games.
Oh
No,
man.
I with Dragon Quest, I couldn't finish my game because my laptop died.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what's your excuse now? Because
I don't sure. Well, I should, but I might pick it up. I might start it because there is the DLC included, and I heard the DLC fixed a lot of the issue.
Yeah, it
So
it did.
we see. I'm gonna look it up after I come back. But yeah, Innate, what your thoughts? And then feel free to ask to others until I come back. Very quick.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. No. I mean. Honestly, I don't really know. I mean, I know they said, the near guy's the most likely candidate. I don't really know how to feel about that because to me, that tells me uh, they're potentially looking for something different with this game. Also, something really odd seems to be happening with the game if it's suffering from multiple delays, and
I think that guy, by the way, is already working on the game. So it's not that they're just
so
trying
he,
to
he's
change
gonna move
direction.
up into that position, basically. You mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So it's not like that. That's kind of the thing. What I have with this, like we're assuming because he was producer for Nier games, that is going to change the gameplay to match Nier games, which is not how it works, right? Meaning he's already working on this game, so whatever it's gonna end up as, it's gonna be a Dragon Quest game, right? They're not gonna suddenly turn it into a hack and slash or whatever. It's going to be a turn-based uh, RPG because that's what Dragon Quest is.
I mean, like I said, I hope you're right. The only reason I say that I'm interested to see, like, I gotta see it first because I remember the early on when they first showed us the little burning 12 and stuff for Dragon Quest 12 was like the word on the street was like we're going to do something different. And I was like, "Wait, what?" And they were like, "Yeah, this may be the first one that, isn't the traditional turn base." And I'm like, "Wow." I mean, obviously we don't really know what that means or how to interpret that. So, I mean, I hope it's,
Which one was it? Because
like you
there
said.
are a few, right? There
Wait,
is the Dragon Quest. Dynasty Warriors.
No. I mean, I'm talking about a mainline game though.
Oh,
Like just numbered, kind of like how Final Fantasy has a bunch of spin-offs, but they usually don't mess with the mainline game until 16 came along and 15 and so on and so forth. Um, but yeah, like but specifically Dragon Quest has always been a straight up turn-based game.
Mhm.
To almost to a fault, you know what I mean? Like it definitely needed some pep in its step sometimes. They could do with some flashier skills, uh, some more urgency in combat and stuff like that. Sometimes
That
it can be pretty
that's
slow.
your opinion, sir. That's your opinion, sir.
I know. I'm just saying, they could use
I
some
I absolutely
improvements.
I absolutely love
hey,
the combat of
you can fight it
Dragon
in
Quest
Skyrim.
11.
Yeah, I know. But
It,
I don't know. I mean, I think if they're coming out with 12, like I think they're looking to do something to spice it up. But I think they'd be incredibly stupid to get rid of the formula. I mean, you're talking about a game that basically, uh, some companies close for when it comes out in Japan
mhm.
because it's so big.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Square would be an absolute idiot to alter or mess with that and kind of go from there and just really mess it up. But Square has famously done really stupid things in the past with
Yep.
several of their franchises. So
About
I don't put
Square
it
is
past them, but I hope they don't. So
yeah. About thing about Square is they are now in a trial and error uh, era. They're
yeah,
trying to see what works and what doesn't, which is why we have seen 16 how it was, and they banked on it being amazing, and it didn't turn out to be that, and now they're like wondering what's gonna happen. So I'm downloading Dragon Quest 11 Echoes of an Elusive Age right now, definitive edition.
yeah,
All
So
right.
yeah, after I'm done, I'm gonna be able to play it after we go up air. Um, I might take a break from what we call it, Avium, and see what the fuss is about with this one.
yeah. I mean,
But
you like traditional turn-based games, so I'm sure you'll like
yeah,
it.
I love it. I love
Mhm.
it. Again, I I went until I got that big sword that glows,
Yeah,
almost like a master sword, and that when my laptop died. Um. So yeah, Nelson, do you have anything else to add about this one? I doubt. Okay. So our final topic is going to be it's a lot of food actually. It's Xbox as a whole. What's happening to it? So now another new rumors that shout to Zuby is on that multiple Xbox IP coming to PlayStation 5. Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Microsoft Flight Sim, Grounded, Halo Master Chief Collection, id Software next title launching on PlayStation 5 Day 1, Doom Year Zero, that's your favorite weeb. Multiple Bethesda titles now shifting multi-platform
What do you
release.
mean, my favorite?
id, isn't id your
No,
I thought you loved Doom. Am I wrong?
I
you
like
like
Doom Eternal, but it's not my favorite
Oh, I thought you
first-person
enjoyed Doom.
shooter.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad.
If you were talking about the Wolfenstein New Colossus, you would have had a point. But they're working on an indie game, so
Okay. So, I mean, they did say multiple Bethesda titles now shifting multi-platform releases. Um, so you have that, and then you have this, and this is shout to J-Dub, or actually just Gordon, he is the one that broke the news. Microsoft CVP and key Xbox inventor Kareem Choudhury is leaving after 26 years at the firm. Major leadership changes are designed to accelerate growth plans across Xbox Game Pass service and yet console hardware. And then you combine that with Ninja Zero co-founder Tamim Anton Diaz leaving the studio. So him leaving the studio is an issue one in the sense of people have been saying that he left a few years ago, while others saying that he just left. So it's been bad news after bad news after bad news after bad news at Xbox. A company with retailers not being able to sell Xbox, and then you have major changes. The XM Tech org will move into the General Xbox Hardware.org, which is led by Ruan Stones. Stones is famed for her ten, ten, tenure as an expert on the Windows division, helping companies like Dell and HP get the most out of Windows for their PC manufacture effort. So it seems like Apple's going third party.
I mean, again, nothing we can really tell until that actually takes
Yeah,
place full hand. I mean,
but,
right now
but it,
they've been third party technically for a while now. Anyway, you consider the fact that they specifically don't actually own PC. Uh, but I mean, regardless, I mean, obviously with them publishing games on PlayStation, I mean, that's essentially a third party development in and of itself. So, I mean, to a degree, whether or not it'll be full on, day and date, and that's just where they'll go from here. I mean, we're not going to know. I mean, we have obviously the rest of this year to get through, see what else they're going to launch besides Hellblade 2. Um, but again, like I said, the trouble they're in is just a product of several years and multiple decisions. Um, Two of the biggest being that got them in that position, obviously, day and date on PC and Game Pass. Um, and
it,
I don't think they're willing to reverse either of those to a point where they would matter enough to get them back on track. Um, I mean, if they were confident in their content and their products coming forward, I feel like maybe they'd consider it more. But I'm not really sure they're ever going to reach that point at this time. I mean, again, they just can never seem to get the cadence consistency up with releases. And I mean, again, you're talking about a company whose money is extremely long, and money is not the problem. They can't seem to get their shit together. They definitely internally can't seem to identify a good game if it hit them in the face, which is part of the problem. Um,
Yeah,
it,
even if their cadence was high, though, you got to start hitting better than like 20% from the field.
yeah, exactly. Like the hit the miss ratio to hits is like terrible. At this point, like you're talking about you get one every 10 or something crazy, and it's like you can't do that. And we're not just talking about some of these games got to be good. Some of these games need to be the system seller. Like the fact that you don't have one, and again, the thing that we keep telling people is like, they're like, yeah, but I love Halo or I love Gears. And it's like, yeah, that's nice. But they're trying to get new people who are not into the ecosystem, who are not into Xbox, and try to entice them to get one and become a part of it. So it's like getting you is not the problem, that person that's not the problem. The problem is getting new people. Um, and it's people think it's like, oh, it's not that they're not selling and stuff. I mean, one of my friends, he wants an Xbox right now, and that's just what he wanted. But again, he's not the person they're really looking for because he's like a hardware sale and a COD sale, and NBA 2K. Like they want us. You know what I mean? They want the people who buy several games a year, who boost their titles and stuff like that. But in order to get those people, I mean, obviously they'll never get me as long as they're day and date on PC. Like that's just how it is. Like I'm not gonna sacrifice uh my performance and fidelity on PC and being able to play, the best way possible. And ultimately, that's what's happening to them, right? Several people, I mean, we've all seen it on the timeline. Several people who were, devout Xbox fans have either for years already been on PC, and just not really admitting it until recently, or they are recently all purchasing, systems of, varying strength. But regardless, a lot of them are making the move or the transition to PC. And
Yeah,
that's
even
not
on
going to
these
help them.
Xbox podcasts, 4 out of 5 of them are playing on PC, anyways.
Exactly. But, they toe the company line, to Xbox, because again, at the end of the day, when you're a content creator, trying to keep them super chats rolling in and, keep the crowd happy that's rolling in. So, they're going to say what they need to say to sound like they're still down with Xbox, Randall Thor, again, another person who tries to remain quote unquote mysterious or whatever, who obviously recently just had a 4090 rig built a couple months ago. And it's like, oh no, I'm just going to content create on it. Like, yeah, okay, sure. Because you have Game Pass, which is across both systems, and you're just definitely just not going to play anything on a computer that you had outfitted with a 4090, which is completely unnecessary for content creation for one. So again, just all about keeping the money flowing, keeping up, trying to keep up the appearances until they get something definitive coming from Xbox. But yeah, like I said, the messaging is really unclear right now. People don't really know where Xbox is going. People are unsure about hardware. People are talking about, you've got the white Xbox that was shown that's clearly, doesn't have a disk drive. You've got people talking about a handheld, which really has no actual grounds. People are just kind of talking about it. Um, like it, people don't actually have any actual anything actually concrete dealing with whether or not they'd actually come out with a handheld of some sort, which is a whole nother thing as well. So again, like the fact that there's all these different directions that people think they're going is kind of part of the problem, right? Uh, the one place they think that nobody seems to think they're going is a heavy cadence on shipping top tier games, and that's the only cadence and the only messaging they need to be putting out right now, because that's the only way they're ever going to pull anything back. Because ultimately, yeah, there are people who will specifically only really game on consoles, right? Morgan's not here, but Morgan is one of them, right? She refuses, no matter how much I talk about it, to ever really want to
PC.
play on PC. So
I
she's
mean,
like that.
she's waiting. She wants a reason to buy a Series X,
She wants
right?
one, but they refuse to give her one. So
I could imagine what she's feeling with 30 FPS for Hellblade 2.
I mean, she liked the original Hellblade, so I mean, she's is still excited. But the question is, after Hellblade 2, what's next, right? People made all these jokes about PlayStation not having
You're gonna finish
anything.
that in the first afternoon, and then what?
Exactly. Like there was all the jokes about PlayStation not having anything in 2024, and again, people paying attention to the wrong messaging. Xbox dudes constantly worrying about PlayStation, and it's like, dude, we're drowning in games right now, and y'all were worried about the whole no, franchise existing exclusives until 2025, and yet y'all have released absolutely nothing so far, and the only thing they've released are their games on PlayStation this year. So yeah, I'd be a lot more concerned about what's coming down the pipeline for y'all and the continuation of that brand. And again, this isn't an attack or anything like that. I wish. Why? And I tell people, why wouldn't I? I have a 4090. I could play all their games. Why wouldn't I want them to create phenomenal games? If they're capable of creating great games, I want to play them. Like, give me games I want to play. I wish you could. I wish they would. I wish they would challenge PlayStation to the top degree with these studios they have now. They would come out with some of the most amazing, undeniably, 90 plus Metacritic level games and, hit after hit after hit. But hoping that, clearly isn't going to make that happen because they've been hoping for the past, over a decade now, and that hasn't done shit. So, yeah, like, no, I'm not just going to, sit here and wait and hope, but nobody wants them to go anywhere, but it's like, what do you want me to do about it? You know what I mean? Y'all were the ones that sat there and were satisfied with Halo, Gears, and Forza and talked about, having access to, 800 games um, on Game Pass and how, it's the future and PlayStation's going to follow suit. And again, constantly worrying about the wrong thing. And it's like, again, none of that's going to matter. Oh, in the cloud, and let's not forget about that, which is also trash for the record. Um, and half the time people are waiting, or it's laggy, or a bunch of other shit, and it's like having 10,000 ways to deliver content is unimportant if you don't have the content to deliver. You know what I mean? Like people talk about all the features and the the cross saves and smart delivery and all that, like all that shit doesn't
Yeah, now
matter.
they're talking about a handheld. It's like, what it was for? What to play? Have more ways to not have anything to play? Like, I don't,
Exactly. And that's the
I don't get
problem.
it.
They're focusing constantly on the wrong
How can we
thing.
make a machine to get more people to play? It's like it's not the machine that's the issue. You're already everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. See, Fresh. The
But
Xbox
whatever.
dudes like cinematic third person one and done games now. Exactly. See, the key was a lot of them were lying and they had a PlayStation all along. So they were fans the whole time. Just on the timeline, they had to make it seem like they weren't, but now that they're gonna get their, cinematic one and done game, quote unquote, now they're excited, But we'll also see how that reflects in the numbers because that's also the thing. There's always an excuse for that. Well, all of us are not going to beat the game, or all of us are not going to. Again, there's an excuse. Like it's like, look, even when you guys get the game for free, most of you guys don't play it. It's like quote unquote free, quote unquote air quotes, you know, uh, but no additional cost.
DLC, they didn't touch it.
Yeah,
I
again and
busted.
again people keep saying like, oh, all these people keep saying that Microsoft doesn't get a W for this or that, or so now, no, we all said like when they got Persona 3, like, oh man, cool, that's a W. Does it matter? No, because most of you guys aren't even going to play it. Colt, the prime example, Colt is the biggest capper for this stuff. He forgot that Persona 3 Reload even came out on it. He had to be reminded, and then he
It's
was
because
like,
he
oh
didn't
yeah,
give a
this.
shit in the first place.
Exactly, which thankfully, okay, shout out to him for this one. At least he admitted he doesn't care for those games at all. He doesn't care. He doesn't play them. He doesn't care. Period. I was like, cool. At least someone was honest. Because a lot of these guys out here are not honest. They're like, Japanese devs can't hope to build a fan base over here if they don't bring them. It's like, dude, the fan base they have is all they're ever gonna get over there. Like, I'm sorry. Like, there's not gonna be this newfound mass Japanese loving fan base over there. There's a couple of y'all over there who are hard headed and for whatever reason are like, I want to play it on an Xbox or I refuse to play it. And it's like, let's be real. If you were a real JRPG fan, like you say you are, and you wanted to play these games, you'd be playing them wherever you
Thing about
could.
it is all those people already have a PlayStation.
Yeah. I mean, whether they want to admit it or not. And that's the thing that really comes down to is that they ultimately don't want to admit it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the messaging is just a mess right now. Uh, Ultimately, you said like, where's Xbox going? Heaven only knows right now. The only place, like I said, they need to be going though is a future in which they consistently release high quality games that are not just Halo, Gears, and Forza, which is again kind of a running joke now, especially with supposedly Gears 6 being in development, allegedly. So again, that doesn't do them any real favors, especially if Gears is just more of the same. Like these guys need a rescue so bad right now, which is crazy because when you think about all the money they've spent, and it's just like they're still creatively bankrupt, and it's insane. Like after all this time and all this money spent and these like literally you're talking about someone bulking up, above 35 studios or something like that now, and it's like you still can't even produce half the games. And then, people are like, well, those games take time. Okay, fair. What happened to the
They
devs
got
they had
25 to
before that?
30,000 devs now, and PlayStation has like 7,000.
Well, but even
They
before
got like
that,
4 times.
even before all the new devs though, like what happened? Because people go, "Oh, it takes time to make those games." Okay, fine. What happened to all the other games they were working on before? That they didn't have no devs before. So what happened to Perfect Dark? What happened to a couple other games they allegedly had in development? That's the issue, and it's like people are sick and tired of waiting. And people are realizing that just experiencing whatever they're going to put out on PC is your best bet because you're going to get to play those games. If you want to wait, which most people are lying and they're not waiting, they're playing those games on PlayStation. Let's be honest. But you can get some of the PlayStation games later, years down the line, and you can also play games that are only on PC. And people are just realizing, provided they have the money and the means, that that's their best way forward with anything dealing with Xbox. You get rid of the uncertainty, you get rid of the dealing with the 30 FPS. And
It's almost like
then,
they're trying to push people to PC too, so they don't have to make an Xbox anymore.
yeah, I mean, and that would be another thing. That would be weird because they'd be losing. It would be a weird spot because they don't benefit from it the same way they would people buying on like Xbox itself, the Xbox ecosystem itself, which is something I brought up with people talking about, PlayStation should go day and date, and I was like, well, no, because, on they discovered on PC that if they want to sell their games there, they have to put them on Steam, right? Which then they only get a cut. But if someone's buying your games digitally on your store specifically, then you get 100% of that, and you ain't got to share with nobody, especially if it's a first party game. So again, like I don't know what they'll do. Like I said, I hope they're not out of it.
Yeah, but when you're taking a
But we'll see.
$200 loss on the hardware and you're not selling anything on it anyways, I mean, there's a give and take for everything,
Well, and that's really the problem. They like I said, they have they have
They're not high
they have
value
two
customers,
problems.
the majority of them. So
Well, they created that problem essentially though. They
mm.
curated the Game Pass kid, and now all of them expect everything on Game Pass, and whether they have the hardware or not, and that's kind of where their loyalty lies. I think one time I think somebody joked about one of the last presentations they had. I'm not sure they ever said the word Xbox once or something. And they were like, it was basically, they were like, wait, how many times did they say Game Pass during this event? And it
A
was
whole
like,
bunch.
yeah, it was like a ton. Like, it was crazy. And they were like, are they trying to rebrand Xbox into Game Pass
Yes.
specifically? So yeah, I think that's where the messaging is just destroyed. And like I said, day and date on PC killed any hope of them, boosting any of their hardware sales at all. So yeah, I don't really know where they're going to go from here. I mean, yeah, great games are undeniable, and I still think that they could pull, quite a few people over, or at least to get it as a secondary console if they could actually manage. But I mean, you've got to put out a lot better than what they've been putting out for years at this point. They have to step it way the hell up. Um, and I'm
I
not
think
sure they got
Indiana
it in
Jones
them.
looks pretty good, but the thing is, then right after that, they'll probably have Avowed, and that looks fucking terrible. And let's be honest, Hellblade's gonna be interested. Very few. There's a lot of people capping for it, and maybe 1 out of 4 actually are really actually excited to play that. They didn't give a shit about the first, and they ain't gonna give a shit about the second. Let's just
And
keep it a buck.
that's the other problem is that
Here was gonna
you
be
know
about Xbox.
if we're excited to play a game on PlayStation, you can see it reflected in the sales, right? The sales, the fanfare, everybody's really enjoying it, playing it,
Also
so
the
on and so forth.
trophies.
Yeah, I mean that's the hard facts, right? You can see we're actually completing the game or whatever, but um, the issue on their side is that you see a bunch of hype, you see a bunch of fanfare, you see a bunch of people talking shit about how they're about to get this game and it's going to be so great, but then the game comes out and it falls flat. And it's like, okay, so there was all this hype and all this, you know, PlayStation fans wish they had this or that, and it's like, well, no, they really don't, because y'all don't even wish y'all had it because most of you guys aren't even playing it. So it's like, I don't know. It's there's really nothing they could do. Ultimately, like I said, outside of just if they've got a bunch of games in the tuck that are absolutely high quality and releasing at a decent cadence, like that's all you can really do. But again, like I said, they're gonna just have to reverse some of these decisions if they hope for the console to be viable in the future. And the biggest one of those is uh, the day and date PC thing. Um, honestly, it needs to be they need to reverse the day and date PC thing and the day and date Game Pass thing. But I don't think they'll do both. So if they had to do one, I think the biggest thing they'd have to stop is the day and date on PC because again, everybody's just going to play. Everybody who has a PC is just ultimately going to play your game on PC. Like, I mean, one of their biggest people just got like a 4080 build just the other day. If someone has a 4080 and the start of next generation, you're still doing day and date on PC. Why would they get an Xbox from now on? They wouldn't. Like, they're already better than your next Xbox, so why bother? So that, like I said, that's their biggest thing they got to reverse. Whether or not they got the balls to do it, I don't. I doubt it. I don't think they're gonna put Pandora back in that box, but we'll see.
Anyone have anything else to say before we move to the 30 FPS part? Okay. So, Hellblade 2 confirmed 30 FPS. What's up in it? What's happening?
Well, I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is happening apparently.
How is it in the world? Hold up. Is it maybe the fact that they need to develop for this and PC at the same time? That why? Because PlayStation, every single game have gotten 60 FPS mode.
Well, not every game. Every game from PlayStation specifically has gotten it, but not every
I'm talking
game.
about third party.
Yeah, but like I said, they also weren't developed on that system. So the reason I say that in particular in this specific case only, the issue here is like I said, UE5 is kind of the whole thing I was talking about with Immortals of Avium and also Dying Light 2. They all kind of suffered from the same thing. There seems to be some uh, innate issue going on with the strain.
I've had a few devs that have worked with it tell me that it has a lot of demanding stuff that don't really need to be in there, but it kind of brings down what you can do with it because it's in there, even if you don't need it for your game. If that makes sense.
Yeah,
There's a lot of overhead problems.
Yeah, it's a heavy load, no matter what you're kind of doing with it. And
That's why a lot of devs are sticking to Unreal 4 because there's a lot of shit in there they don't want for their game, and you're gonna have the load even though you don't have it implemented into your game.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a process of just bad decision making. Obviously, stuff like Starfield was Starfield. They're working on the old tech. They're also developing it for the Series S, which is also a big problem. Um, and then obviously Redfall never got. I don't think they never got the 60 FPS patch for that. They were promised that, but they never got that. But again, that wasn't even that game's problem to begin with. That game had a whole heap of other troubles besides that. It's the least of their concern. I think again, just a series of bad decision making in what they're choosing to develop their games on, so on and so forth. Like I said, in the case of, this game, it just seems like again, Unreal Engine strikes again, and I don't know. This team has kind of been seeming to struggle. They promised a lot. They promised a lot of big things, and they seem to kind of retract a lot of what they promised. A big discussion. Oh, so Morgan said that they did get the 60 FPS patch. So again, though, irrelevant for that game because like that's
For which game?
For Redfall. But
Oh
again,
yeah,
like
well
I said,
fuck.
the problem with that game was that was irrelevant because that game had AI that was basically dead in the water and a bunch of other issues. Like I said, me and Morgan played it co-op, and I played it at 165 FPS, I
I
didn't
feel
need I didn't
sorry
need
for you.
yeah, I didn't need no patch. So whether that game was running at 30 or 60 or 160, it still was trash. So that game, that was the issue there. But like I said, I'm not gonna put it on them specifically because I know the game is running on Unreal 5. Um, I mean, it does look really great. Um, but yeah, I mean, either way, this could also be an issue with the parity clause. But again, you mentioned Immortals of Avium earlier, right? That is another game that was on Unreal 5 that couldn't go above 30. So clearly, there's a massive issue going on with, specifically developing on Unreal 5 that is very heavy, very taxing, and a big issue. And, companies are either going to have to, develop their own in-house engines, or they're going to have to work with, Epic to try and get this stuff situated, or try to get a less taxing version uh, going on with this, at least, especially if they're not considering a mid-gen refresh, which it doesn't seem they are. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I still think the game's probably going to be solid. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's in this particular case of the 30 FPS scheme, is that Unreal Engine 5 is a very big culprit in that issue. And it is what it is. So, and nothing they can really do about it unless they were going to switch engines. Obviously, it's vastly too late for that. Um, it sucks for them that they don't have their own Decima engine, or, some equivalent to work with, but that's where they're at, and that's their fault. Again, another product of,
They got the shit space
bread.
engine.
Yeah, that's clearly out the window. Uh, that was a perfect example of them trying to develop their own engine, and that didn't work out. And of course they're switching over to Unreal, even for Halo. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do in the future, man. It's not looking good for them.
I don't understand why they don't use.
Uh-huh.
They have id Software. Why won't you use their soft? They actually have good software. Why didn't frickin' they use that for Bethesda too? Their engine is fucking garbage, garbaggio.
Yeah, I mean they're already working on their new engine for the Elder Scrolls. So they're working with the
So,
Creation Engine
what
2 now. So
what's with Xbox and their inability to create or work with engines? We have the Halo engine. They spent so much money on it, and look what happened to it. And now with Unreal 5, it's not Xbox, but still. They've been working on Hellblade how long?
it's been a very, very long time for a game that is apparently not
Also,
that long.
they switched
The
from
first
4
one came out right after Horizon Zero Dawn.
they switched from 4 to 5. Like, wait, they've been working on it after Horizon Zero Dawn?
Well, he was saying that's when the first one launched. Like we don't have the actual date for development, but it's been in development for.
I doubt they were all working
5 years.
on Bleeding Edge though, but
But
Yeah.
maybe they've had to be doing something.
This is a short game.
Yeah, I mean,
And I'm sorry, but the combat that I saw looked so boring. And
It looked
so
boring as
slow.
shit.
it looks
Did.
it looks very similar to the first one. Is what I'll say about it
It
from
looked-
what I saw. So
It looked
There's
worse.
only one combat at a time. I mean, this game is really like, it's like, all right, you're 30 FPS, but if you were fighting swarms of enemies and fucking shit and blood and all that was flying everywhere, I could kind of see some kind of excuse. But this shit looks like it takes Unreals to a whole fucking another level. Like it's on stilts on rails. You know what I mean? Like.
Your question.
yeah,
For me,
Water said he thinks it only went into full development in 2021, which I mean,
Yeah, it did. I don't know. That's because they spent 3 years doing cocaine and fucking taking pictures of strippers and shit. You see all the pictures? I was right about that. I said that's what I thought was going on.
yeah,
I wasn't
said
joking.
that. of
I think that's why they got rid of that guy. They were like, okay, this is horribly optimized. You took fucking almost a decade on this game, this 5-hour game. Like, what the hell did you do with all the money? And he was sitting there going, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dude, where is Xbox or Microsoft influence? Where is the money?
You're saying where's that? Well, again, that's the thing that I was saying. Money has never been their problem, but everybody thinks money is the automatic solution to everything. And like I explained, team synergy, uh, you know, the developmental culture, how you develop things, the developmental pipeline that we talked about with PlayStation, and the people they have in place, uh, to decide whether or not they're going to greenlight a game or cancel a game, and all these things. Like, it just seems like that is inherently missing uh, at Microsoft, and they've never been able to find someone who can successfully manage that, especially not with all their studios and so on and so forth. So, um, again, people underestimated creating an engine, so they underestimated that. That took a ton of time, ton of effort, and ultimately for naught because they're basically going to scrap it already. Like, again, you just run into a bunch of issues where people again are underestimating all these things that PlayStation has achieved. Again, I bring it up all the time. People severely underestimate what Gorilla did when they went from first person to third person. Not only first person to third person, but a first person FPS to, first person shooter to a third person role playing game, which was not easy. Um, Again, you see, even with Indiana Jones coming out, that team stuck to first person because that's what they know. And they do a good job in it.
yeah, they even like it don't even make sense for them to do it. It's like, yeah, we're gonna make it look third person in cutscenes, but it's if they would have just came out and said, look, we don't know how to do third person, so we're doing first person, I would have respected it a lot more than making up all the bullshit excuses of why it don't even look right. The game is not meant to be in first person.
Yeah, and I mean,
If they could have been honest about it, I give them a lot more respect.
yeah, and I mean, before it was revealed, almost every podcast, Xbox centric podcast, was like, "Oh, it's gonna be
Said it
third
was
person.
third.
It's gonna be third person.
Yep.
Watch. It needs to be third person. This and that." And then after they realized it wasn't, then the capping started.
It's better that it's not, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Again, another
It's so
conversation
predictable.
I had with Morgan. Like, she was like, all of them wanted it to be third person so bad, and then they just had to eat it, when it came out, and it wasn't third person. Um,
Thing about it is, I can respect their decision if they just came out and said, "Look, we're this is what we're good at. This is why we're doing it."
Yeah. And
But no, they're like, "Oh, it's for more immersion." It's like, no, it's not. No, it's not. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, and I explained the
Again,
money. I
it
explained the
is
money thing, Omar, a lot. Like, this is where I hate sports analogies, but this is just a really good one that baseball fans specifically, complain about all the time. So the New York Yankees famously always have like the most money, but the New York Yankees don't automatically win the World Series or whatever every year because
They haven't done shit in like 20 years, and
Yeah.
look at like the Devil Rays. They have like the lowest paid team every year, and they're really good every year.
yeah,
It don't make no sense.
I know money doesn't buy talent. Like even when you buy talent, Real Madrid.
Well,
suffers.
what
They-
happens
they-
is though you might not have the environment to cultivate that talent, right? To make it
But
grow, to let them work to their best ability. Again, this is something that I said people keep missing in like PlayStation's pipeline. When people have gone throughout the industry and come to work at PlayStation, they talk about how much they've learned and how much they grew as a creator, whether they are an animator, whether they are a programmer, a story writer, whatever, right? The formula in which they get to be a part of when working with PlayStation's core first party studios seems to be like unlike anything else in the industry because, again, you've had people who worked at EA, you've had people who worked for Activision Blizzard, literally every other dev you can think of that's major, and everybody still states that like there's nothing like what they worked on and how they worked on it at PlayStation. It was just on a completely different level. And that I'm not you just can't get that, right? Like, famously, right? Another quote unquote sports analogy, right? The 96 Bulls were Michael Jordan. Everybody knows who Michael Jordan is. You don't have to really understand the whole thing, but the 96 Bulls was not just Michael Jordan, right? The reason that they're called that is because of the starting lineup that Michael Jordan had to work with was also amazing and so great. So while Michael Jordan is often heralded as one of the greatest players that ever played the game, he didn't do it alone. He had a great team with him, and that's how he was able to do what he was able to do as a point guard.
And a lot of the reason his teammates were great though is because he pushed them and they were fucking scared to fail him too.
Well, yeah, I mean they worked together and they worked hard to get that, but they also had a really good coach during that time. That's why that specific team is really so famous from that era, because you had all these things in place, from the coach to Michael Jordan to Scottie Pippen, the whole starting lineup, as well as the coach, and all this stuff had to come together in order to get that team to drill and put out the performance that they did, right? So from the director to the people above you to the people, explaining the time frame that you need in order to create the scenes and create the game that the developers need to create, all that entire pipeline has to be done well in order to achieve a really great game, and at the level that PlayStation does it at, right? I remember famously watching something recently where Morgan had showed it to me, because obviously she's a big Spider-Man person, and it was the animator or something, and she talked about how much time and dedication they put into the animations for that one scene, and that's all they're used for in Spider-Man 2. When you are doing that scene where you are chasing the boat or whatever, or chasing something, I don't remember, but the dudes are on jet skis and stuff, and you have the animation, the takedown animations when you take them down on the jet skis. And she talked about like how hard that was to animate and get that right. And that's literally just one big scene in Spider-Man 2. And it's like, that's what we're talking about. Like, you need to come out with things at that level that surpass the rest of the industry, that is a showpiece and a showcase for your box specifically. Because this whole toting all these features, and again, all this 12 teraflops of power and all this other nonsense they were saying beforehand, and all the narratives going on before they launched, none of that shit matters if, again, you can't come out and execute, right? No one cares that you look fast in the gym, but when you get on the track, you can't perform, right? Like, no one cares how hard you train if you don't win the Olympics, right? Like, if the other person smokes you anyway, who cares? You didn't win. You know what I mean? And that's the problem, is like Microsoft has all this stuff going on the back end that looks like they should be okay, and then every time it comes to the execution, they keep fumbling. So it's just like, I mean, I don't know what it's going to take for them. I don't know.
Yeah,
what
I've been
next
excited
is,
for
but
dozens of games, first party, second party, exclusive to Game Pass, whatever. But when it comes out, it's like, what the fuck is this? It's
yep,
you can only let me down so many times before I stop getting excited. When it's like your dad says he's gonna keep he takes you to the fair every year, but he ends up going out for a smoke and being gone for the next 3 months instead. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and like I said, it doesn't really specifically phase me because, I play on everything, but that's not. I actually care about the health of the industry, and that's why I want Microsoft to be good. And I know the better they are, the more they'll push PlayStation, you know, uh, and put PlayStation in a position to have to react, to have to do better, to have to feel like they have to push themselves harder and further than they already do. Because I'm like I always tell people, I'm the harshest critic of PlayStation. The moment they mess up, I'm on their head like immediately. What the hell is
Like,
this bullshit?
I
Get this out of
haven't
here.
I haven't seen a single person on our show defend PlayStation.
No, the
When
moment they mess up, we on it, and you have to be.
we have to be with the consumer. I have a question. Before I ask, Weeb, are you alive?
Yeah.
You have anything to add? Because you've been quiet.
Not particularly, no.
So, you don't care that Hellblade 2 is 30 FPS?
Yeah, I don't really care about Hellblade, so no, and I wasn't expecting anything else because that's
Okay.
pretty
Okay.
much the MO. of Xbox and Dave.
So I'm gonna move on then from you and to the next person, which is me. And I have a question. I wanna say the hypothetical question because this is what PlayStation is doing. If you remove day and date from Hellblade 2, and if you focus on PlayStation only, would this game have been able to get 60 FPS mode?
Wait, is it a PlayStation was developing it?
Y- Um, let's say it was built for PlayStation, and they
Mm,
didn't have to go day and date.
no, I don't think that's the issue. The main reason I say that is because like they're not the only ones in this specific game that are running into this issue with Unreal specifically. So that's why I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is still, regardless. Like I mean, they're a solidly talented team. I think still ultimately the issue is the engine they chose to work with.
That's the engine they're building all their games on, though.
Yeah, I mean it sucks to
Un-
suck. I mean that's their fault, but
Unreal,
Immortals, like I
if
said, Immortals
Unreal
of
is so
Avium
bad,
and Dying Light 2 also ran into that same issue.
if
So
Unreal is so bad, why not having what you call it, switch into a different one then?
because
How
there
many?
aren't so many options for AAA level
Yeah, there's not as
development.
many options out right now. If you don't have your own proprietary engine, there's really not a lot of. It's Unreal or
Yeah,
Unreal,
and then
really.
Unity's having a ton of issues right now.
Unity's
People,
more of a indie development tool too.
yeah, but I mean some companies, like I seen an indie dev the other day that said he switched from Unity. So like a lot of people are getting away from Unity because of the nonsense they tried to pull not too long ago before they let a bunch of people go, where they were talking about trying to charge developers per install or some ridiculous nonsense like that. Like basically
But
trying to recoup all this cost that their overhead operating cost caused. So no,
me would,
I don't think they would achieve that just developing it for PlayStation.
but couldn't then Xbox have said we're not gonna use Unity, we're gonna use a different program?
Well, that's what we're telling you though. There's not many options to achieve the look that they wanted and what they were working with, and also there's no telling what they knew back then versus what they know now. There's also the fact that I mean, like I said, you still have to consider that they do have to develop this game for the Series S. I mean, that's just a reality for them.
Yeah,
But even then, like I said, developing for PlayStation specifically does not mean that they would have got a 60 FPS version. Like, no, because like I said, other teams that are just as talented or much bigger than their team also couldn't do it. So that's why I said the issue seems to still stem from Unreal, regardless. Um,
damn.
yeah, that's just the state of that specific engine right now until they come up with some sort of performance mitigation or upscaling tech or something else to deal with whatever is so heavy on the back end
And the
with that.
engine for Unreal too, you have tools in there for so many different game types, and usually an engine developed proprietary is used for specific types of games and specific types of tools.
Yeah, like
The
When you have
reason
Unreal,
why
you have
earlier.
something to you from fighting games to racing games to fucking open world to linear to it's all basically built in there. So there's a lot of shit you don't need in there, you know, for specific games, and you got to go through all that.
really trash confirmed.
Well, you mentioned about why didn't uh, somebody, maybe Nelson said it, but somebody said basically why didn't uh, Starfield use a different engine or whatever. But the reason is because the way mods work in Bethesda's games are built around that specific engine and the way that they code that engine. So it is purpose built for the way that their worlds work, which is why the next engine they're working with is the Creation Engine 2, an engine they created in house that is again designed for their games, their engines, and the way that they do quest lines and incorporate mods.
You know what PlayStation best move was?
What's up?
Moving Best Studio from Unity to Decima Engine.
Yeah, I mean the Decima engine is one of the single most
Okay.
impressive engines I've seen in my life.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like
But
Morgan
with
said,
that,
it's not as simple as
Sucker Punch. Sucker
switching
Punch
the
has a
engine.
great
So
engine too. Blue Point has a great engine. Polyphony Digital has a great engine. Shit, even Dreams are making games and it still looks better than half the shit on that a lot of people make. I don't
hey,
remember
look
the
who
name of their
showed
engine.
up. Morgan, shout out to her for coming through. What game is this? This looks interesting.
it's Hades 2.
Oh, that's a Hades 2. Yeah. I have yet to play Hades 1.
Oh, now you're gonna make Morgan come and strangle you because that's her jam.
Why? You have it?
She loves that game.
Let me see if you have it. If you have it,
I
I will
mean,
just play
I
it.
beat it already. So
He has to wait in line.
Did you beat it?
yeah, I beat it. I beat it
Wait,
a long time
Reeve, you wanna strangle me as well?
ago.
Yeah.
What's with you people? What am I supposed to do? Clone myself? To be able to play different game like?
Hey, look, man. I don't know. You're gonna have to figure it out.
Yes. Stop playing every Metroidvania game you come across.
I It's not my
Uh,
fault that I never had access to what you call it Hades. I played the demo, the
I
old
mean, you got access now, one way or another.
um no, it's locked.
No, I said one way or another. You have
Okay, I
access
feel you
to it. So
understand.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I get you, but for that for the later conversation, I do. Okay, so anyone have anything else to say before roasting me about Hades? Going once, going twice, going thrice. Okay, then I think we are at the end of the conversation. This was a quick one. Shout out to everyone that came through. Fuck you, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, for locking auto pickup behind finishing the game. Not gonna let that one go. Not gonna let that one go. Shout out to Brother Tales of Two Sons. I finished it. Um, I had a blast with it. I played the original one. The remake did it justice. There was one area in the game where I'm like, it was hard to control, but other than that, it was a blast. Also, another thing that people should experience is playing it alone. I know co-op is a thing, but or online co-op is also a thing. But if you play it alone, it's such a difficult task to do
Well,
because
yeah, because you
each
have to
character
control both characters.
precisely.
Yeah. There and for this game in particular, there's no online co-op, so it's only
Oh,
couch. So
so how was Morgan and
she played with her
Priscilla able
sister.
to do? Sorry.
Morgan played with her sister.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I do remember her playing with the sister, but I thought she also played it with.
No, I said Priscilla
Um,
beat the game originally, not the remake, and she beat it by herself.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I beat them both by myself, and I have blessed with both of them.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's a small indie game. I'm surprised they haven't done a part two right now. They could expand on the, not the story as much, but more about the world building.
I mean that
They,
team seems to like to move to the next project, so they don't really seem like a sequel team. So I think that's kind of
uh,
the deal with that. I mean, you're talking about the same people that, you know, did all the other co-op based games. I think that's just their thing. They just want to move on to the next co-op based project.
if, if it's gonna be like a Brothers of Tales of Two Sons, then I'm gonna be on it. Cause I love that game. What I love about it is every biome is different. They introduce new gameplay mechanics every now and then, and it always stays fresh up until the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard
But
nothing
yeah,
but good things about it, so
enough about it. Yeah, shout out to everyone that came through. Great conversation. Great people to play game with. Let's get to outro. We, how are you? Shout out to come through and where people can find you.
You can find me on Twitter as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome. Yeah, great show, and of course, Other Nation.
Wow, we actually went 2 hours. Um, Nelson, thank you for coming through and where people can find you.
Nelson Gaming 12 on PlayStation and Twitter. That's all you need to know.
Chat for Morgan for coming through on in chat. And Innate, shout out to you for hosting and where people can find you.
Yeah, just on Twitter at the real Innate. Trying to actually complete some of these games on my plate, and potentially get some of these platinums. So, again, gaming again, unlike half of Twitter on these gaming streets, but
Being
we're
generous
here.
with half, it's way more than half and you know it.
Yeah, sadly, but yeah. But
The
shout out to the people
loudest,
that actually game. So that's all.
yeah, shout out to them.
Those are the only people that really matter.
Shout out to them for actually gaming. The loud mouth, they don't play games, they play Twitter.
Yep.
And they wonder why people don't give them any, what can we call it, credibility or whatsoever. Like, why should I invest my time in you if all you do is talking? You don't pay, you don't put the work. Yes, you can buy the games, but are you playing them?
Exactly.
That's the issue. And no, turning your console on and leaving it on for 10 hours doesn't mean if it's playtime because people can track trophies. They can see if you played, if you which trophy you got. This is
Yeah.
how a lot of people
If you
got
actually
exposed.
made some progress.
But yeah, people in gaming, such a foreign concept. With that being said, shout out to everyone who came through. Great show. You can find me at Carbon Club on Twitter and Vitamin G podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm looking forward to my rant on Monday on Rebirth because I know for a fact Pharaoh is gonna disagree with me because he loves that game.
Yeah.
But he's also stuck in nostalgia. So yeah. Great job. Feel free to end it tonight.
All right. Peace. Otter.